Welcome to the Sleevie G Show. I'm your host with your most, and today is a great day. Why? Because I'm not interviewing not just one, not two, not three, but four awesome members of the Intemperate Sons band. I'd like to introduce Mark Watson, Jake Watson, Keith Watson, and Mark Marks to the show. Guys, how are you?
Good. It's
Good.
Max, actually,
Max,
but
sorry.
that's all right.
See, the
We have a
brains.
Mark and Max.
Yeah, you know what? It's just I have crappy handwriting, so I will admit to that. I
That's
apologize.
okay.
It's all
Um,
good.
I'll be Mark Watson for this interview. Absolutely correct.
I'm sorry, man. Max, I apologize full-heartedly. This is
That's
see,
okay.
this is you know, this is why I love what I do because I don't edit, and so this what makes the show great. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because people get to see me, who I am, and I'm just a true, honest guy who just loves to have fun with everybody.
Mhm.
I thought I
Yeah.
was going to have to
Nice.
adopt Mark for a minute there. I was kind of scared.
Sounds good to me, buddy.
We did kind of already adopt Mark, so
Yeah, I think you guys
We
did.
Yeah.
So
Are we going to go out to drink tonight?
we might have to. I might need.
All right.
I had I might have some tequila shots left over from the vacation. So
All right. All
so
right.
guys, I got first of all, thank you for coming on tonight. I got to listen to the album. I got to listen to some of the songs you guys did, and also the wonderful cover of Dumb. First of all, I have to start off with that because love Nirvana growing up, one of my favorite songs. What actually possessed you guys to do that cover song? And by the way, the music video is pretty awesome too. I got to admit to that. I got to see that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I think growing up, grunge music was kind of a staple just within our wheelhouse of music, and especially Nirvana. We've always loved all the unplugged sessions that all those guys did, and we knew we wanted to do a cover, but I think wanted to do one that was just maybe slightly more obscure. Not that Dumb is like a super obscure song or anything, but
No,
the
but
obvious go-to would be like Teen Spirit or something like that. Wanted to do something that I think felt right with the album, and Dumb was just kind of that perfect kind of like sarcastic, cheeky kind of song that was already kind of like a more of an acoustic song or kind of a soft vibe, but wanted to turn it into more of like a hard rocking kind of version. So,
which
yeah.
your version does. And guys, I will drop some bombs here, but you can curse, no worries. Yes, it's actually a kick-ass version from the acoustic Nirvana sound. I really dug it, and let me tell you, the vocals was just unreal. Like I actually had chills listening to that song because it was such a great rendition of it.
Cool.
You know,
Thank you.
Thank you.
you don't hear a lot of covers. The only person I know that would do some of the Nirvana covers is Dave Grohl. You know what I mean? Like he'll do Teen Spirit, he'll jump behind that, but he'll do that one, but you don't really hear him. You don't hear a lot of people doing a good Nirvana cover song, and that's a great one you guys did from bringing it from acoustic to I wouldn't even call it grunge rock, but I call it just a good hard rock song.
Yeah.
Now reading about you guys a little bit, and before I read it, I listened to your music, and I noticed one thing that stuck out to me is one of my favorite bands growing up was STP, Stone Temple Pilots. You guys have that STP vibe a little, a lot actually. Were they a major influence for you guys, or who was like major influence for all you guys, band wise, song wise, singer wise, or any guitar player, bass, drums?
Well, I go a little bit further back than Jake and Max, but I mean, way back in the Wayback Machine, Van Halen, Alex Van Halen was one of my favorite drummers, and John Bonham and stuff. But I went through a dark period
Okay.
where I didn't really like, all the hair metal stuff and that was going on. And when Alice in Chains came around, I lost my mind. I was like, man, it's gritty. Lane's voice was really raspy, great harmonies, which I love because I mean, that's why we do that in our music. Really, it's harmonies will hook you in. So consequently, they got to listen to it all the time and ingrained in their
That's right.
consciousness
Uh,
there.
Well, I mean, Alice in Chains is another thing I was about to say. You guys have that sound with like them too. So I could see now where Keith came with that with the drumming and hearing that. So now we know the influence of Alice in Chains comes through too a little bit through you. Which is a great sound too. First of all, it's like those are two of my favorite bands ever. Besides Linkin Park, that's my ultimate. But
Yeah.
but hearing Stone Temple Pilots, I got to see them live a few times, and Alice in Chains I've seen with the old singer and the new singer. I got to see them a couple times live. So you guys are vibing like right up there, and Jake, Max, you guys are awesome. Like I gotta say that, Keith and Mark too. Now,
Thank you.
how did the band come together is now the question for me. How did you
So there
guys
you
get
go.
together?
Now you're going to hear it. Tell him, Keith.
Go ahead, Max.
Um, well, we actually, not, but me, Jake, and Keith, we flew out to California in 2019 for the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp with Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots, specifically Jerry Cantrell, Mike Inez, and the DeLeo brothers. And we were able to jam with them, like played a couple of songs. We played Check My Brain with Alice in Chains. And what was it? We played Plush with,
Plush.
I
Yeah.
think we played Plush, yeah.
yeah. And it was just an amazing experience. And while we were there, we just realized we're good enough and we have the chemistry. Let's just start making music.
Mhm.
And once we got back, we booked time in the studio and we wrote Going Crazy and Waiting in the Gray. And we just
Running
kept going
Man.
there. And yeah, Running Man too.
Running Man's a great song too, by the way, guys. I mean, I got to hear the music. People say they love listening to the music, but I prefer to hear it, which is a huge difference. You're hearing the play, you guys, you got the way you're singing, the background vocals and everything. There's a huge difference where I say I love to hear it because I really dug the sound you guys had.
Wow.
Again, you know, um, every band I've had, I listen to it, but also I like to hear it because the emotions of the playing is the most important part of a great band like you guys.
Mhm.
And I could say that with True Harley, the music I've heard today, the other day during when I was on vacation, like I was doing extensive research on the songs. Like my favorite, two of my favorite songs from the newest album, Dark Days and Night, Falling Under is one of them, which I truly love a lot.
Mhm.
Game of Keep Away was the other one that really, those two really stuck out to me and really like blew my mind away right away, guys.
Well, there's with Dark Days Night and Game of Keep Away,
Mhm.
there's a good story behind that because we're backed by, we're on Framework record label,
Mhm.
and uh, this is like 6 degrees of separation, right? So you said, Linkin Park was one of your favorite bands.
One of my
Well,
all times, yeah.
Amir Durock and Ryan Shuck are actually kind of behind the Framework label. In fact, Amir has played on a lot of our tracks, and
Mhm.
he mixes our stuff and he produces our stuff too. But they were in a band with Chester Bennington called Dead by Sunrise,
I
which was
remember that.
basically Julian Kay which is Ryan and Amir's band now, with Chester singing. But when you talk about those two songs, Dark Days Night and Game of Keep Away, they produced those. Actually, Amir flew in, stayed with me, and went and we recorded Dark Days Night here in Dallas.
Mhm.
And we did pre-production and we played that song 30 times before we went in the studio, just working
That's
out
right.
the arrangement of it. And actually before that, we flew out to California and recorded Game of Keep Away with Ryan and Amir in the studio out at Maps out there. So they produced that song as well. I mean, we wrote it,
Right,
but
right.
we got into the studio and they're super good at arranging and super good at really. I mean, if you listen to Dark Day or Game of Keep Away with
Mhm.
Max spent an entire day. The second day we recorded that song musically, the first day, the entire second day was Ryan hammering and producing and getting Max to sing the lines. No, sing that again. You're really pissed off with this line, man.
Right.
Max,
Right.
for as a singer, as the one of the vocalists of the band, what was your influences for singing, for vocals and stuff like that?
Definitely Lane Staley and Jerry from Alice in Chains, especially with vocal harmonies,
Mhm.
because I've been listening to them since as long as I can remember. And as I got older, I started listening to more like post grunge stuff, and I guess what would be considered like emo rock, like 3 Days Grace, Seether, and bands like that. And I guess it's just a mix mainly between Lane and just like the post grunge era stuff that I guess really shaped my voice and the way I sing.
Hey, and again, great voice, man, because you could hear it
Thank you.
when you're belting out the words, man. You hear it, and you have it. Like I said, I don't say a lot to a lot of bands like that, but you do have an amazing voice for it. You know what I mean? It's like the perfect. You know what I mean? I would consider you, close right there to the lead singer of the, SDP at that point. You know what I mean? You have that voice that carries. And also your bandmates too, the way they play with you. And that's why I say I hear the music, because with you as the vocals and singing, you hear your bandmates playing with you. You know what I mean? You hear it. You don't say I don't say a lot of that to anybody, because it just, people like to play together. But when you hear a band like yourself, and first time I'm listening to it, I could just hear it, and I hear the love for you guys. The almost like a brotherhood and family type. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
have each other's back, and
Yeah.
you see that a lot, but you don't see it as much as now these days. I know you guys came together around 2019, and COVID happened.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Not the greatest thing. Now, I always ask this because COVID was probably the most challenging for music, movies, shows, everything you could think of. Even podcasting was not easy. Well, actually, podcasting was easy because you could easily get anybody. But this is what I love when I'm doing it after COVID, and I've been very blessed to get a lot of people like yourselves to come on. But how hard was it, you could say, to getting your songs out there during COVID times, getting the band together, writing together? And I mean, everyone, I'm assuming, doesn't live in Texas.
We all do.
Oh, you
Yeah,
all
we
do.
all
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure. Never mind then.
Yeah.
That's a
Actually,
check that dumb question off my dumb list
Oh.
now.
actually, it was funny because, or it wasn't funny. We played our first gig as a 3-piece because we hadn't found Mark yet, and then COVID happened.
Mhm.
So we played a show in Dallas, and then I guess COVID. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it was kind of a blessing for us because we ended up writing the entire first album during that time frame,
Mhm.
essentially, and recording it to the point where it was pretty much done. I mean, we took our time, but so we really got into writing, getting in the studio and making the songs good. And then once we found Mark, which I was in another metal band, I found Mark, and I was like, man, that dude, I can already tell he could be a brother of mine. So
Oh yeah.
then we started rehearsing and got out there, and we got to it quickly. I mean, as soon as
Oh yeah.
the doors open, we went out there. So
So in that case, well, Mark, tell me how it was before you came on with the band. What were you doing? Who were you playing with? And who were your influences as a bassist too? You know what I mean? Not probably one of the
Right.
hardest instruments I've ever tried playing besides guitar. But I give everyone credit when it comes to a band.
I love all kinds of music, but I'm more of the metal guy in the band, probably more of like King Diamond, Metallica, Ozzy, but I also love the style that the band does, and Nirvana. I like everything. I'm not too picky, but yeah, I'm probably the metal guy in the band. I'm not shy to admit that. They know
Nothing
that.
wrong with that's nothing wrong with that at
But
all.
but this is my most favorite band I've ever been a part of.
Nice.
But during their first album, they had a couple of other bass players that actually played on some of these songs. And Keith, you can tell them who they were.
Yeah, it was well, Amir played bass on half of the or over half of the album. Actually, the kids played bass too on Jake played bass on Going Crazy and Max played bass on Waiting in the Gray, but Tony Franklin from The Firm, who was in The Firm with Jimmy Page and Paul Rogers and yeah, so he played on Dust to Dust, Color Within, Running Man, maybe one more. I don't remember. I think it was only 3 he played on. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, we had a couple of guest players on that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Nice. And
that's pretty cool.
No, I was
Yeah,
about
that
to
is
say that's
cool.
pretty cool because, you know, as a metalhead, Metallica, I mean, again, you mentioned some amazing bands too, you know what I mean? Like Metallica is one of my favorites too. You know, Alice in Chains, you know,
Absolutely.
a lot of these, even Ozzy's guy, you know, I actually got to see Zach Wild play live here at the Stone Pony. A friend of mine opened for him actually.
Wow.
Nice.
So for me to be there backstage with them as my friend's personal roadie, that was the only way I was getting backstage. So I just said, yeah, I know how to put the drums together and everything. I had to do it quickly. I learned too. But to see everyone live like that was amazing. And, you know, and especially at the legendary Stone Pony here in Jersey.
I was about to say, where is that at?
It's in New Jersey at Asbury Park. So
Oh wow, Asbury Park is maybe a little famous, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about some of the most iconic singers, like Bruce Springsteen made this place. Is you know
Bon
that's
Jovi?
Bon Jovi.
So I guess we need to go play there now. That's right.
Listen,
when are we going to play there?
If you guys can make it out to New Jersey, you got me going right to the show and seeing you guys.
Excellent.
I will definitely drive down. It's only like a 40-minute drive for me.
Cool.
Awesome.
So, you know, to say that, to see if you guys can get into the Stone Pony, that would be legendary for you guys because I've seen a lot of amazing shows and a lot of careers start from there.
Sweet. We're actually playing we played the Viper Room. I think I've played the Viper Room twice already with you guys, Keith.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Twice,
wow.
and we're playing the Whiskey a Go Go in November.
Oh, that's still kind of Viper Room.
Right.
You know, you're hearing some amazing
That's fun.
spots too. You know what I mean? Like I know you guys have a nice little tour coming up, starting this week, right? Actually,
It's
Saturday.
next week.
Oh, next week. Yeah.
Lawton, Oklahoma.
Yep. And you know, you guys have.
We're actually playing in September. We're playing 2 shows, one in Abilene and one in San Antonio, and that's going to be Julian K with Amir and Ryan, but also Gray Days, which is Chester Bennington's first band.
Yes.
Or Lincoln Park.
And so that, like, how do you guys prep now that the tours are coming around? And this is everybody too. This is how do you guys prep for even if it's a mini tour, a 10-day, 20-day, month tour? How do you guys are prepping for this?
Well, we put the set list together and we drill it out and make sure that it goes well. I mean, because, you know, just kind of circling back with our music, we have so many influences in this band and we've got a really good back catalog, literally, of music. So we can tailor our set list to match multiple different types of audiences. You know, it's not just. So that's what goes into it. Like when we think of a show, we think of who we're playing with and then what songs, you know, will basically drive them crazy or something. You know, it's like, and we can mix and match and move things in and out. And we play some covers every now and then. Like obviously we have Dumb, but we play some a Stones cover that we've got actually 2 covers that haven't been released yet that we're going to release after Dumb. While we're recording, we're actually recording our 3rd album right now. So.
Oh, nice. Okay, so there's a lot of work going on still.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But we collaborate together to make sure that the set list matches the crowd, and that we're conveying the best message. If it's a hard rocking crowd, like when we played the Viper Room,
Mhm.
the last time we played the Viper Room, it was more of a kind of I'd call it a pop punk kind of
Okay.
area. So we tailored our set list for that. So, and we're doing the same thing for a run of shows we're doing with Julian K and Grey Day. So,
Mhm.
Now, how exciting is it to open up for Julian K and Grey Days? Like you hear that and you're on tour, you're hearing that you're going to be opening for two awesome bands. Like, how does that make you all guys feel on that one?
Jake.
It's definitely exciting because it's probably, in terms of like bands that we have open for, probably my favorite musically. So it's like we really respect these guys and want to
Mhm.
basically give them an opener that's going to hype everyone up and make
Mhm.
everyone excited for it. So I'm super excited. It's going to be short and sweet set. So hopefully that lets us really like just dial in those songs and make them as good as they possibly can be. Yeah.
Yeah, we want to play more. We want more of that. That's right.
Mm.
And
Well,
that,
Amir is one of our, obviously he's one of our, he is our producer and our mixer and all of that. So, and he's kind of like a brother to me. So it's like, you don't want to disappoint your brother,
no, I
Heck
gotcha.
no, no way.
Well, it's like for me, I don't want to disappoint you guys either. You know what I mean? I want to make sure you guys are having fun here on the show a little bit. You know what I mean? That's why I like to mix it all up.
Yeah.
Now, Jake, I didn't get to ask you, but your musical influences, what were yours? As you can see, I take time and I bounce around. So
Oh,
I want to
yeah,
give
yeah.
everybody a chance here. So what were your musical influences, Jake, too?
Yeah. So growing up, obviously the things we talked about already, just kind of like the grunge movement and the big four, Soundgarden, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, and the other one I'm forgetting.
That's okay.
Pearl Jam, that's the other one,
Oh,
yeah.
Pearl Jam. All right.
But
Ooh, I forgot
and
about
then
Pearl
Oh,
Jam.
yeah.
I kind of like somehow just missed a lot of music after that until like college. There were some bands that I liked, like I liked Daft Punk a lot, just kind
Mhm.
of like more electronic stuff. And
Yep.
then I've always loved MGMT, Tame Impala. But when I hit college, I kind of went like back in time to the 70s and 60s. So that was new music to me because I just never really like listened to it that
Mhm.
much. So I went through a huge Beatles phase, a huge Stones phase, Led Zeppelin phase, Pink Floyd, of course, um, to name a few, but those are obviously the big ones. So
All right.
I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
my taste is more rooted in older stuff, like for some reason. It's just really what my brain can like gravitate towards.
There's nothing
That's
wrong with
true.
gravitating to like the 60s and the 70s, especially when you're talking about
Mm.
Stones, Zeppelin, even Kiss too. You know what I mean? Those are, you're talking
Mhm.
about iconic bands that, you listen to now, which is kind of funny, like in the 80s. I was born in 79. I just dated myself now. But, growing up in the 80s, I heard a lot of the, I guess you could call it the pop era of 80s, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
then there was the
Mm.
glam bands,
Yeah.
Poison, all these guys. And the only one that two bands that always stuck out to me that were not the glam bands was Guns N' Roses and Metallica. They didn't fall into that.
Mhm.
They were the true classic hard rock, in your face metal. Iron Maiden's another one, you know what I mean? So,
Oh, yeah.
but growing up, something
Mhm.
happened to me in the 80s, and I started listening to old school hip hop, from
What?
you know, like George Clinton, Palmer and Funkadelic, listening to Stones, Marvin Gaye, all these guys, like, Rum DNC,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the 90s,
Houdini?
Houdini too, again, there were so many. And then I went through my 90s hip hop stage, totally lost control of rock, didn't listen to rock as much.
Mhm.
Then I remember my buddy, he's like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "I'm listening to Hot 97. What the hell are you listening to?" K Rock. So I'm like, "Oh, hell no." And
Mhm.
I started falling in love again with the bands like Metallica, Guns N' Roses. I'm like, wow, totally forgot how great some of these bands were. So, like you, I love all types of music.
Mhm.
I do love the electronic phase. I do love the band phase, the hard rock, the metal, the appreciation to the
Mhm.
70s and 60s of the music like you guys do. Um, you know, no, I know we talked about the Nirvana Dumb um cover. How hard was it to actually get that being to be recorded? Was it difficult, or was it, because I know you had to go through a lot of things to to record a song like that, especially with Nirvana, with no longer Kurt Cobain as the front man.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like, we tried to make it a little bit of our own
Mhm.
but still, it was kind of like we were trying to honor the structure, but make it harder. And so, and that's not hard to do, especially with Max, you know,
Is
and Jake, with the Friedmans that we play and the dark guitars and stuff and the dark music.
Mhm.
But we wanted to kind of showcase Max's vocal, range too. And so when we went in, we jammed it, but when we went in, I mean, we actually recorded that super quick. I think we got all the music done in 4 hours, like
Hmm.
drums,
Yeah, it was pretty
guitars.
quick for some reason.
Yeah, it was super
Hmm.
quick. We came back and did the vocals, but
Mhm.
which usually what Max does. Although
Mhm.
Jake's singing a little bit more backing vocals now, but so yeah, and then in terms of releasing it, really, in today's world, if you're selling physical copy, you have to get a license to kind of do that, which is
Mhm.
not it's not horrible. It just depends on how many units you think you're going to sell. But in terms of digital, you don't have to do that. So
So learn
I
something new
guess,
here because I didn't know that.
yeah, man, I mean, the copyright is managed, right? But it's automatically baked into the digital distribution of it. It's
Mhm.
really only when you're selling physical copy like we are, obviously, because we have on that's on our album,
Yes.
that you go and buy a license to essentially do that. But you would think it would be super expensive. It's not. So
See,
Hmm.
that's why I'm not on that side of the recording world. Like, you just don't know. Like, see, that's what I love talking to guys like you guys who've done a cover song from a true grunge band back in the day. You know what I mean? When you think
Mhm.
of Dave Grohl when he does his covers for it, you know what I mean? And it's not really his covers; some of them are his songs too that he wrote with
Mhm.
Kurt. So I mean, like you guys, I
Mhm.
love the fact that you guys collaborate all together though. Sometimes it's just the vocalist with the drummer or the guitarist, and that's it. But you guys have a say in the songs, which is really cool. You know what I mean? You don't hear that a lot either.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, everybody contributes. So we were
Yeah.
just here the other night. We recorded a song or started recording a song we record almost everything at the Kitchen Recording Studios in Dallas with John Painter, who I need to mention because he's been exceptionally good to us. And, he's recorded some big artists. I mean, he's recorded Erica Badu and,
Oh wow.
I think he's played music with her and everything. Um, but we come with ideas. And then like the other night, we sat here almost acoustically and worked out a song
Mhm.
that Jake wrote that we started recording, either it comes with the demo that
Hmm.
which everybody's pretty good about putting demos together, some better than others. I'm not the best, but
Mhm.
I just like write something and go, here, you guys make it far better, but we'll do that, jam it out, and or and like in the case of way back when, Jake had this fully formed demo and I chopped it up and arranged it a little bit differently, or Max, falling under was like a gift that just fell out of the sky that we probably could have just released whatever he recorded, and had it mixed there, but we went in and recorded it, right? So it's a process. And actually we've got eventually very soon we got one that Mark's written that we're going to get in and record.
So
So
as you guys are continuing getting ready for touring, you guys are still writing and recording songs and getting ready for that third album already. So the question is, do we have an idea when it'll be out, the third album?
if I was a betting man, it would be out probably in the spring of next year.
Okay.
Um, we already have two, yeah, two originals in the can
Okay.
already.
Mhm.
And we like I said, we spent some time, we recorded two other covers to just kind of, in today's world, you release singles and then eventually you release the
Mhm.
album. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know what's better, but we have, I was just organizing all the song ideas yesterday and sent them out to everybody. And we've got 20 song ideas, like
Okay.
literally, that we're going to be working on for the rest of this year. So
I'm actually looking forward to the third album, guys. Seriously, I cannot wait.
thanks.
You know,
Thank you.
you guys have been awesome. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say, but say thank you so much to all four of you guys coming on tonight.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Thank you.
man.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
problem. Now, before we do sign off, I do have to ask, if you guys were the main band, who would you guys want opening up for you guys? Two bands, everybody. This is, I'd love to hear, because it's always interesting to hear the combinations.
Max.
Hmm.
I threw you guys for a loop on this one, didn't I?
You did.
I see. I always do. I do something like this all the time, so it's always good to hear what everyone's thoughts are.
I'll say Megadeth and Mastodon.
Ooh, all right. That's two good openers right
Wow.
there.
Hmm.
As the other three are
I'm
still
gonna
thinking.
I'm going to I'm going to go out on a limb and probably mention some bands that maybe nobody has heard of, but I went and saw Alice in Chains before the pandemic. I guess they were on the Mount Rainier album, and the Starbenders opened up for
Okay,
them.
I actually do remember them.
They're from Atlanta. They're
Mhm.
badass. So that would be cool. And the other is another band from Atlanta called Royal Thunder. And they're both
Ooh,
female fronted bands, but yeah, I think her name's Melanie Parsons. She plays bass and she's got like a voice that's like a cross between old school Geddy Lee and
mhm.
Janis Joplin.
Ooh,
But then she can get like real, melodic or whatever. But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
but they're both
Okay,
hard rock bands or, yeah.
and they're two very good, respectable hard rock bands. I have
Yeah.
heard of them. You'd be surprised how much I've actually have heard.
How
Hmm.
about you, Jake?
Jake.
I'm gonna go with these bands are like nothing like us, but Jungle. I don't know if you ever heard of Jungle. They're kind of like they're a British duo and they make kind of like dancey
Okay,
pop music.
I like
And
it.
I'd go with Shaky Graves, who's kind of like a solo kind of like folky guy. He
Okay,
can like play like every instrument all at once kind of thing, but he has like some kind of like grungy kind of songs that I think would honestly pair pretty well with some of the stuff we do.
all right, I like that too. You guys got so far three different, totally different realms. Now
Mhm.
to the metal guy, to
I
Mark.
may, I may, I may surprise you. It may not be
Well,
metal
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm
though.
throwing the metal guy out because I remember you mentioned it in the beginning of the show, but I'm still gonna say it.
I'll probably just go out on a limb and say Silver Spun Pickups or Silver Sun Pickups. That's one of my favorite newer bands,
Mhm.
and probably the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
that really threw me for a loop. Google Dolls. Hey, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, like I
Mhm.
said, totally four different perspectives right there. So I mean,
Mhm.
that's awesome, and that's what I love to hear. You know what I mean? I would say nothing controversial. You're talking about six awesome bands.
Mhm.
So guys, I really gotta thank you for taking the time. Like I said, I didn't want to keep you guys late either. I know you guys got things to do and you guys got to finish up a lot of stuff, but I really appreciate you jumping in. Before we sign off, can you let everybody know where they can find you guys?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to theintemperatesons.com. All of our socials are there, but I mean, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, all the streaming. We're on YouTube. We have a ton of videos to go with our songs. Almost every song that we've released has a video out there.
Actually
And
followed you too today, so
cool.
Thank
I
you.
had a chance, so I was able to watch some of the
We're
videos.
everywhere,
Yeah, we're
like
everywhere.
literally
Individually too.
Mark is on TikTok, you know.
I'm a TikTok whore, baby.
Now I'm gonna go look for Mark on TikTok just because I love it.
Hey, bring it on, man. We'd love to have you. We also have Mick Morris's daughter. She interviewed us last year. She's a good friend of mine on TikTok and the bands as well.
Oh, nice.
Stormy Deal. She's very nice. Yeah, come on, bring it on, man. We'd love to
Oh,
have you.
Definitely. Well, guys, I gotta thank you all guys for coming on tonight. You know, I wish you luck on your upcoming tour, guys.
Thank you.
Looking
Thank you.
forward to the album coming out on top of that.
Cool.
You know, I can't thank you guys enough. And also I have to give Shauna a big shout out too, because without her, I would not have this awesome interview with you guys with
Sweet.
O'Donnell Media helping me out
Absolutely.
here. So I gotta give her a shout out too.
We love
Guys,
Shauna.
she's amazing. She's been great to work with, actually.
Yeah.
I just connected with
Awesome.
her a little over a week ago, right when I was starting my vacation. So
Cool.
Sweet.
so I was
Awesome,
very,
man.
you know, when she sent me you guys, I'm like, yes. I said that automatically pretty quickly. So
She came to our Viper Room
Nice.
show, and she's coming to our whiskey show because she lives in California.
California,
so-
yeah. If you
Yeah.
ever guys make it to the East Coast, New York or New Jersey, man, let me know. I'd love to be there for you guys.
Cool.
We
will
want to,
man.
for
certainly
sure.
do that. We appreciate you having us.
No
Awesome.
problem, guys.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Guys, thank you again for coming on. Thank you everybody for listening to the show. And as I always end my show, it's nothing but love, peace, and happiness. Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir.
Not everybody.